I'm 80 years old, and I need to tell you something that took me nearly 8 decades to understand. I worked my entire life. I mean, really worked. 60, 70, sometimes 80 hours a week for almost 50 years straight. I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought I was building something important. I thought I was being responsible, being a good provider, being the man everyone expected me to be. And you know what I discovered? I was wrong about everything. Not just a little wrong, catastrophically, devastatingly wrong. And the worst part is, nobody told me. Or maybe they tried, and I was too busy to listen. When I was 25 years old, I got my first real job at an accounting firm. My father shook my hand and said, "Son, work hard and you'll never have to worry about anything." So that's what I did. I worked hard. I showed up early, stayed late, took on extra projects, volunteered for assignments nobody else wanted, and it paid off. I got promoted, then promoted again. My salary increased. I bought a house, then a bigger house. I was climbing the ladder, and everyone told me I was doing great. My colleagues respected me. My boss valued me. I was on track to become a partner by the time I was 40. But here's what nobody mentions when they're congratulating you on your career success. Every hour you spend at that office is an hour you're not spending somewhere else. Every late night at work is a dinner you miss at home. Every weekend you sacrifice for a project is a weekend you'll never get back. I know this sounds obvious now, but when you're in your 30s, building your career, trying to prove yourself, you don't think about it. You tell yourself it's temporary. You tell yourself you're investing in the future. You tell yourself that once you reach a certain level, then you'll slow down. Then you'll have time for everything else. I made partner at 42. I remember the day clearly. Champagne in the conference room, handshakes all around. My wife came to the celebration. She smiled and hugged me, but there was something in her eyes I didn't want to see. Something sad, something distant. I was too excited to really notice. This was what I had worked for. This was success. Except it wasn't the finish line, it was just another starting point. More responsibility, more hours, more pressure, more reasons to stay at the office instead of going home. My son was 10 years old when I made partner. I remember thinking I'd finally have time to go to his baseball games now that I had achieved my goal. But then there were client meetings. Then there were presentations to prepare. Then there were deals that needed my attention. I missed his games, not all of them, but most of them. I'd tell him I'd make the next one. Sometimes I did. Usually I didn't. He stopped asking me to come after a while. That should have been a sign. That should have been a wake-up call. But I told myself he understood. I told myself I was doing this for him, for his future, for his college fund. My daughter got married when she was 28. I walked her down the aisle. I gave a speech at the reception. But you know what? I barely knew the man she married. She had been dating him for 3 years, and I had met him maybe 5 times. I didn't know his dreams, his fears, what made him laugh, what he valued in life. I knew he had a good job and seemed stable, and that was enough for me because I was always too busy to really get to know him. At the wedding, my daughter cried when she hugged me. I thought they were happy tears. Maybe they were, but maybe they were also tears for all the conversations we never had, all the moments I wasn't there. I retired at 68, mandatory retirement age at my firm. I fought it, actually. I wanted to keep working. Work was what I knew. Work was what I was good at. Work was my identity. The idea of not working terrified me. What would I do with all that time? Who would I be if I wasn't the senior partner everyone relied on? But they forced me out. Gold watch, retirement party, speeches about my dedication and contributions. And then it was over. Just like that. 50 years of my life, and it ended with a party and a watch. The first few months of retirement was strange. I didn't know what to do with myself. I'd wake up at 6 in the morning, ready to go to work, and then remember I didn't have anywhere to go. My wife had her own life by then. She had her book club, her volunteer work, her friends. She had built a life that didn't revolve around me because I had never been around enough to be part of it. My kids were busy with their own families. My son lived 3 states away. My daughter called every few weeks, but the conversations were polite and surface level. We didn't really know each other anymore. That's when it hit me, really hit me. I was 70 years old, retired, supposedly at the point in life where I could finally relax and enjoy everything I had worked for. But there was nothing to enjoy. I had money in the bank. I had a paid-off house. I had a retirement fund that would last me the rest of my life. But I didn't have relationships. I didn't have memories. I didn't have the things that actually matter. I had spent 50 years building a career and accumulating wealth, and in the process, I had lost everything that makes life worth living. I started doing the math. It's a horrible thing to do, but I couldn't help myself. I calculated how many hours I had spent at work versus how many hours I had spent with my family. The numbers were devastating. In my son's entire childhood, from birth to 18, I probably spent less than 2,000 hours actually with him. And I'm being generous with that estimate. 2,000 hours over 18 years. That's less than 4 hours a week on average. 4 hours a week with my own son during the most important years of his life. And where were the other hours? At the office, in meetings, on business trips, doing work that nobody remembers, and that didn't matter to anyone 5 years later. My wife and I went to counseling about 3 years after I retired, not because we were fighting. We weren't. We were just strangers living in the same house. The therapist asked us to share our favorite memories together. My wife had dozens of memories, but most of them were things she did alone or with friends while I was working. When it was my turn, I struggled. I could remember business achievements. I could remember deals I closed and clients I impressed. But memories with my wife, real, meaningful, joyful memories, I had so few. Our wedding day, a handful of vacations, and even on those vacations I was checking emails and taking calls. Here's what I want you to understand. I'm not some lazy person who wasted his life partying or being irresponsible. I was doing exactly what society tells you to do. Work hard, build your career, provide for your family, save for retirement. I did all of it. I did it perfectly, and it destroyed me. Not financially. I'm comfortable financially, but emotionally, spiritually, relationally, I'm bankrupt. I have everything except what matters. My father died when I was 55. He had Alzheimer's for the last 5 years of his life. By the end, he didn't recognize me. But you want to know the saddest part? I didn't really recognize him either. I had been so busy with my career that I had barely spent time with him in the last 20 years of his life. I'd visit maybe once a month, stay for an hour or two, and spend most of that time checking my phone. After he died, I found boxes of letters in his house, letters he had written to me but never sent. Letters about his life, his thoughts, his advice. Letters he wanted to share but never could because I was always too busy. I see my grandchildren now. I have 5 of them, and I try to be present in their lives in a way I wasn't for my own children. But it's complicated. They don't really know me. I'm the old man who shows up at holidays and birthdays. I try to talk to them, to build a relationship, but there's no foundation. You can't build intimacy in an hour every few months. I missed the chance to be a real grandfather because I wasn't a real father, and you can't make up for that. You can't go back in time. Those years are gone. I'm 80 years old now. If I'm lucky, maybe I have 5 more years, maybe 10, probably less. And I spend every single day thinking about the same thing. What was it all for? What did I actually accomplish? I spent 50 years building a career that ended the moment I retired. Everything I worked for, all those late nights and missed moments, it's all gone now. The company moved on without me. The clients I served don't remember my name. The deals I closed are ancient history. It was all temporary, all meaningless. But my son's childhood, that was permanent. Those were the years that mattered, and I missed them. I chose work over him again and again, and I can never get that back. If I could talk to my 30-year-old self, I would grab him by the shoulders and beg him to stop. Stop sacrificing family for career. Stop believing that work is more important than presence. Stop thinking you'll have time later. You won't. Life moves faster than you can imagine. Your kids grow up in what feels like a moment. Your parents get old before you notice. Your marriage becomes distant without you realizing it. And then one day you're 80 years old, looking back, wondering where it all went. Here's what I've learned too late. Work is not your life. It's just a part of your life. And it's the part that will forget you the moment you leave. But your family, your children, your spouse, those are the relationships that could have lasted. Those are the connections that matter. And I destroyed them all in pursuit of something that didn't even survive my retirement. You think you're building security by working those extra hours. You think you're providing for your family by climbing the corporate ladder. But what you're actually doing is trading irreplaceable moments for replaceable money. You're trading your child's childhood for a bigger house they won't remember. You're trading your marriage for a promotion that won't love you back. You're trading your life for a career that will replace you the second you're gone. I had a colleague who died last year at 76, worked until he was 72, massive heart attack at his desk. At his funeral, his daughter spoke. She said her father was a hard-working man who provided well for his family. But then she said something that broke everyone's heart. She said, "I just wish I had known him." Known him, her own father. She grew up in the same house as him, and she never really knew him because he was never really there. Don't be that person. Don't be me. Don't spend 50 years building something that doesn't matter while missing everything that does. Your boss will replace you. Your company will survive without you. But your children only have one childhood. Your parents won't be around forever. Your spouse deserves more than whatever energy you have left after giving your best to your job. I'm 80 years old, and I'm running out of time to fix my mistakes. But you still have time. You still have the chance to make different choices. Leave work on time. Go to your kids' recital. Have dinner with your family. Call your parents. Take the vacation. Be present. Be there. Not just physically, but emotionally and mentally. Put your phone down. Close your laptop. Look the people you love in the eyes and really see them, because I promise you, when you're 80 years old and looking back, you won't wish you had worked more. You won't wish you had stayed later at the office. You won't be proud of those extra hours you put in. You'll wish you had one more conversation with your father, one more game with your son, one more dinner with your wife, one more moment with the people who actually mattered, and you won't have it, because that time is gone forever. Don't waste yours like I wasted mine.